Welcome, direct from the Rob Lincoln Unpresidential Library. This is episode 2 of a short 3-episode mini-series leading up to the promotion of my new album, American Tales and Presidents. And tonight I'll be playing 2 songs off the album and then a cover I have just learned, never played before, a beautiful song I've always enjoyed hearing that's actually related to both the songs that you'll hear from me. So this first song I'm playing is cut 3 on the album, and the album goes chronologically. This song takes place referring back to 1822, but the narrator is speaking sometime probably in the 1840s or 50s. And it's a piece of historical fiction with some interesting tidbits thrown in there, including one piece of misinformation. If you can find the misinformation that's on the album and not on this recording, I'll be impressed. It's called Rosa Lee. My name's Steamboat Jim, sailed on Mississippi. If you ask me where I've been, tell you I've seen not so pretty sights along the scene. Seems like it's a dream, but my memory, it's still keen for all these places I have been. In 1822, I left my home in old St. Louis with a sack upon my back. Walked through them morning glorious sights along the scene. Seems like it's a dream, but my memory, it's still keen for all these places I have been. Look, here comes the Rosa Lee. Ain't you picking up steam? Careful, boys, don't burst your boilers. Paddles turning, waters churning, and we still steam slowly along. When the great quake came, the banks there were overflowing. The river changed its course. All the townspeople were rowing. Sights no longer seen. Seems like it's a dream, but my memory, it's still keen for all these places I have been. We steamed over New Madrid. I tell you the whole town was missing. Where was good old Main Street? Gone to where the fish go fishing. Sights no longer seen. Seems like it's a dream, but my memory, it's still keen for all the places I have been. Look, here comes a Rosa Lee. Ain't you picking up steam? Careful, boys, don't burst your boilers. Paddles turning, waters churning, and we still steam slowly along. By the flowery hills, I still see the people waving, and by old Missy's banks, I can hear the people saying, look, here comes the Rosa Lee. Ain't you picking up steam? Careful, boys, don't burst your boilers. Paddles turning, waters churning, and we still steam slowly along. Look, here comes the Rosa Lee. Ain't you picking up steam? Careful, boys, don't burst the boilers. Paddles turning, waters churning, and we still steam slowly along. Paddles turning, waters churning, and we still steam slowly, still steam slowly, still steam slowly along. I think some boiler bursted up there. Something just combusted out of thin air. Anyhow, that was a little creepy. particularly when I tell you what it was. But anyhow, that's called the Rosa Lee. Wrote that song back when I was about 25 years old. And glad it's getting an airing here on the album. Hopefully you'll enjoy the version. Thank you for listening. Here comes another one. This was once listed in Wikipedia as a good example of a Civil War song, but it was taken off because I'm not famous enough. I didn't put it up there either. And it was put up there by someone I didn't even know. Charlestontown. Definitely inspired a bit by the Red Badge of Courage, as well as a number of other things. The daffodils were in bloom. The smell of spring was everywhere. But by the shadow of the half moon, I knew I had to go from here. The orders came. Sorry I left you there. But I went down to Charlestontown with a coat of blue, shoes turning round full of mud, and tinged with blood. The first campaign was in July, a Sunday afternoon near Washington. Apple Run 800 died, while gentlemen and ladies soaked up the sun. Then they ran away, and so did I. But I went down to Charlestontown with a coat of blue, shoes turning round full of mud, and tinged with blood. General McClellan, he was fair, took us down Virginia way, by the banks of the Chickahominy. We saw little action till late May at Seven Pines. I wish they took my eyes. But I went down to Charlestontown with a coat of blue, shoes turning round full of mud, and tinged with blood. Oh, for long winters the snows came, for long winters I endured, and finally there came a change. It was a change worth fighting for. The blood stains, they still remain. But I went down to Charlestontown with a coat of blue, shoes turning round full of mud, and tinged with blood. spring is everywhere. I picked them for you one by one, and now I guess I'll lay them here beside your name in Charlestontown. But I went down to Charlestontown with a coat of blue, shoes turning brown, full of mud and tinged with blood. I went down to Charlestontown. I went down to Charlestontown. I went down to Charlestontown. To Charlestontown. I think the version on the album is better than that one, especially since in the last line it should say, "The daffodils are back in bloom." See, it actually covers 4 years of war. The same soldier returning, of course, to his beau that happened to be a Southerner. And you heard what happened there. Hopefully you understood that song. Anyhow, the cliff notes are somewhere else. So now we will do a cover that I've never played before that is related in some way to both of these songs. So this song that I'm attempting to learn right now, I've heard a number of times on the radio, and it's one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. It was written by Michael Peter Smith, somewhat popularized by Steve Goodman and Ann Hills, but if you don't know folk music, you probably don't know much about any of them. There's a really interesting backstory on this song, but I want to try to see if I can pull it off first. I mean, I don't have time to give you the backstory. May need a couple of takes on this one. Don't fully know it yet, as often is the case. It's Spoon River. Spoon River. All of the riverboat gamblers are losing their shirts. All of the brave Union soldier boys sleep in the dirt. But you and I know that there never was a reason to hurt. When all of our lives were entwined to begin with here in Spoon River. All of the calico dresses, the gingham and lace, are up in the attic with grandfather's Derringer case. There's words whispered down in the parlor, a shadowy face. The morning is heavy with one more beginning here in Spoon River. Come to the dance, Mary Perkins, I like you right well. The Union's preserved, if you listen, you can hear the bells. There must be a heaven, God knows I've seen mostly hell. is outside, coming right through the morning here in Spoon River. All the riverboat gamblers are losing their shirts. All of the brave Union soldiers are sleeping the dirt. But you know and I know there never was a reason to hurt. When all of our lives are entwined to begin with here in Spoon River, here in Spoon River. Well, I've never played that song before, so I left out a few chords in that third verse, but we'll make it through. We're going to get through this and get it online on time. Thank you for listening. Please check out the new album coming out called, what's it called? It's called American Stories and Presidents. No, American Tales and Presidents. That was a great song, by the way, written by Michael Peter Smith, otherwise known as Michael Smith, Spoon River. The whole backstory is really cool, but I got to get up to get this online. I'll tell you about it another time. But I was at that graveyard that was based on the writings of the author who wrote Spoon River. And there's a whole Lincoln connection because Anne Rutledge is buried there, who was the first girlfriend of Abraham Lincoln. And I saw all this, and it all had to do with this song. But that's all I can tell you right now. So if you want to learn more, email me. I'll tell you. By the way, thanks for listening. And please subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And please like. Take care.